Before we continue, I just want to let you all know that there will be a moment for questions and answers at the end of all our panelists speaking. And we'll also have somebody from the Tyendinaga Support Committee come up and tell you a little bit more about how to sort of be actively supportive of Shawn and of his community. So that will come after. The next person I'd like to introduce is Natercia Coelho, who is the wife of Gary Freeman. Gary Freeman has been in jail since 2004 and is now threatened with extradition to the United States. Natercia is going to tell us a bit about his story and also how you can support him.
First of all, I'd like to thank you all for having me here tonight. Truly is an honor to be same stage with such strong women fighting for justice. And for I'd also like to mention that 3 of my children, if you wouldn't mind just standing up, are here with us as well. My 2 daughters, 2 of my 3 daughters are my As many of you are aware, my husband, Gary Freeman, who is of African-American origin, was born in Washington, D.C., and he is a survivor of Chicago police brutality. Over 3 decades ago, he came to Canada to survive. Direct death threats were made against him while he was in Chicago. He came to Canada because he didn't want to die. He adopted Canada as his homeland to ensure that his unborn child, my son, would have a father and a home, a place where he had hoped there would not be the same fear, discrimination, and lack of equality of opportunity as in the United States. My husband was arrested in a brutal takedown as he was leaving work on July 27, 2004. I was waiting for him that evening in our vehicle, which was parked in front of the entrance to the Toronto Reference Library. When I saw him exiting the library, I slid over to the passenger side. Our eyes met and he had a big smile on his face. He went around to the driver's side, and as he attempted to open the door, I saw shadows all around him. I thought he was being mugged. So I opened my door immediately, and when I opened the door, all I could hear was shouts of, "Get down, get down, get down." We were completely surrounded. There were dogs barking and guns drawn. That night, that night was the beginning of our family's nightmare. My husband was arrested on an extradition warrant issued by the United States for an incident that occurred in Chicago in 1969, 38 years ago. The following morning, newspaper headlines stated that my husband was Joseph Pinnell, a former Black Panther member who attempted to murder a white Chicago police officer who was wounded in the arm in an incident that took place in the south side of Chicago on March 7, 1969. The police officer was 21 and my husband was 19 at the time. My husband is the former Joseph Pinnell, but allegations made against him are false. He has never and would never attempt to murder anyone. All life is precious to him. I shall refer to my husband as Gary Freeman. This is his chosen name. It's the name his family and friends know him as, and it's the name he has used for almost 4 decades. All our children have Freeman name. Our website has information on the significance of this chosen name, but in the interest of time, if anyone's interested, just visit the website. In 2005, my husband was committed to extradition by a judge of the Superior Court of Ontario, and last year, our former Minister of Justice, Vic Taves, ordered his surrender to the United States. Let me now take you through the evidence that has been submitted by our extradition partner. Court records make false claims that my husband was a member of the Black Panther Party. Affidavits signed by both Gary and his 1970s Chicago attorney indicate he was never a member of the Black Panther Party. Yet, this allegation is repeatedly raised with the intention to color the case against him. Terrence Knox, the former Chicago police officer, has given various contradictory versions of what happened between himself and my husband almost 4 decades ago. The extradition partner relied upon a victim impact statement by the former Chicago police officer Knox as evidence in Gary's extradition arrest, as well as evidence in subsequent bail hearings leading up to his extradition hearing. The victim impact statement describes factually what my husband is alleged to have done in respect of the shooting of the police officer. This is what it says. It was in the early afternoon, and I saw a young man. I pulled a squad car over, stopped him, and asked why he wasn't in school. After some discussion, he pulled out a gun and fired about 13 shots through the window and the door of a fully marked squad car. 3 bullets smashed into my right arm. This is Terrence Knox's victim impact statement. However, at the extradition hearing, this victim impact statement, which they relied on, was removed from a document called a supplemental record of the case. Victim impact statement was never referred to at all. In its place, a statement of what the police officer is expected to testify was put in instead. This is what the statement reads as in court documents. Knox pulled up to Pennell in his patrol car with the intent to question Pennell as to whether he was a student, and if so, why he was not in school. Knox will testify that he did not know Pennell prior to this encounter. He is expected to testify that he asked Pennell his name, and Pennell responded that he did not have to tell Knox anything. Knox then asked Pennell where he lived, and Pennell responded he lived at 7300 Peoria. Knox then asked Pennell if he would object to a search, and Pennell said yes. At that time, Pennell walked away from the patrol car, and Knox exited the car and told Pennell not to move and to put his hands on the trunk of the car. Knox then moved towards the police radio located inside the car to call for assistance. Knox will testify that at that time, Pennell produced a semi-automatic pistol and fired 5 shots at him, striking him in the lower right arm and right elbow. Knox returned with 6 shots, missing Pennell and emptying his revolver. Pennell then fired 2 more shots at Knox, missing him. Pennell fled southbound. This version is very different from the facts stated in Knox's victim impact statement. So further records in the court disclose that all physical evidence has been destroyed by the Chicago police. So there is no gun, there is no bullets, there is no vehicle, no photos of vehicles, nothing. Everything has been destroyed by the police. Records are lost and witnesses are deceased. The court documents also have a list of the forensics that was listed, and the listed forensic evidence does not corroborate any of Terrence Knox's testimonies. Court documents also disclose that Terrence Knox, the former Chicago police officer, he was the investigating officer on reports which give rise to an apprehension of bias and certainly a conflict of interest.